What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Alright, so this is the situation we have right here. This is, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in over a month, we have an area of interest in the Atlantic Ocean. In fact, we were expecting something kind of like this about a day ago. In fact, if we take a look at this, this is Dr. Rick Knabb, who tweeted out this. Our days without a system mentioned in the NHC/Atlantic outlooks are numbered. While the models may not exactly be right on where and when, the fact that the Euro and GFS suggest development in the tropical Atlantic in the next week to 10 days means that the atmosphere is becoming more conducive. For those of you who do not know, Dr. Rick Knabb was the director of the National Hurricane Center. He was the director of the NHC, I believe, from 2010 until 2016. And then he went back to work for the Weather Channel. But that's besides the point, just to give you some background on who he is. But anyway, if we take a look at this, we have only a 20% chance in the next 5 days. But if we take a look at the models, we can't say that this thing is going to develop. It's just not going to take 5 days to do that. In fact, the reason the chance is so low is because the wave isn't even off the coast of Africa yet. But it will be soon, and it will be in the next day, and we'll get to that in a second. But disturbance 1, 20% chance of cyclone formation 5 days, eastern tropical Atlantic. A tropical wave is forecast to move off the west coast of Africa later this weekend. Environmental conditions appear to be conducive for some gradual development of this system while it moves westward across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic during the early to mid part of the next week. Formation chance in the next 48 hours is low, it's near zero. That's because the system isn't even off the coast of Africa yet, it's still in Africa. The formation chance in the next 5 days is 20%, so it's only a 20% chance of development, but to say that this is now happening, we're now seeing an area of interest in the deep tropics for the first time in over a month. That means the environment is changing, and all those videos I was talking about with the gradual changing happening in the Atlantic, well, it's starting to bear fruit quite a bit. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this. We're going to take a look at the European and GFS models right here. The GFS models have been increasingly aggressive in the last 3 model runs right here. And as you can see, this is the 18Z from yesterday, and we can basically see what's going on. This is the sacrificial tropical wave that's going to be coming off. This is the tropical wave we need to pay attention to right here. What I'm scrolling around, this is the tropical wave we need to pay attention to. It moves off, it starts to develop gradually, and then we have a low pressure system detected on the model right here, and then it starts to gradually develop. There is some strengthening possible with this one, but then it kind of drops down to 1,999 millibars, potentially a strong tropical storm right here as it moves, kind of clips the Leeward Islands right there and the Virgin Islands, and then it starts to move off to the north. What's basically guiding this is this high pressure system right here. That's what guides tropical systems all over, so that's basically what's going on. This is eventually going to weaken, and this thing's going to move up to the north. And after that, like, it doesn't detect the low pressure system. Like, it can't really, it's hard to predict storms this far out. This is not 294 hours out, but that's the 18Z. This is the 0Z. We can see it right here. The 0Z is an interesting run as well, because as you can see, this comes off the coast of Africa. It starts developing, it starts strengthening at a quicker pace, and the bottoms out eventually at 994 millibars right here, which could either equate to a strong tropical storm or a weak hurricane, and then it starts weakening. And the reason this is going to be weakening is because of the wind shear. And if we take a look at the 200 millibar winds right here, yeah, that's the wind shear blowing through it right there. There's going to be some wind shear that could tear this thing apart and eventually downgrade it down to a depression. Once it gets out of that shear, it will have an easier time. But the reason it starts weakening after a certain point in the Atlantic is because of the wind shear. The wind shears in this part of the area is actually really, it's really high. We're looking at 30 to 40 knots of wind shear right now. But right now is right now. So we're still going to have to pay attention to it, but this should give you guys an idea of what's going to happen. The good news is that this run has it moving hundreds of miles away from the Lesser Antilles. And then we have the 12Z that's starting to come in. We'll put out another video later today talking about this. But yeah, this is the tropical wave we should be paying attention to right here in the 6Z. And I want to show you this because this is a very interesting run. This thing starts really ramping up in intensity. It eventually bottoms out at 986 millibars, which is a mid-range Category 1 hurricane. So these model runs are becoming increasingly aggressive time after time. So yeah, if this trend continues, then yeah, we should be worried. But then again, these model runs do have this thing moving north of the Lesser Antilles, although this is further to the south than the last model run. I would say the cone of uncertainty at this point is from Africa all the way up right here in this range right here where I'm doing it. That's the cone of uncertainty right now. So, yeah, 986 millibars, the wind shear starts tearing it apart, and then it starts weakening right here down to a tropical depression, and then it moves further to the north right there. So, yeah, actually this is now depicting a stronger high-pressure ridge right here, and it could potentially move it off up to the east coast, but that's too early to really tell. That's 324 hours out. But I will continue to update you guys as the situation progresses. We'll go ahead and take a look at the European model real quickly just to give you the context, because the European model isn't nearly as aggressive, but it does show that there is going to be some development. So the tropical waves comes off the coast of Africa. It starts to develop. We're looking at it. It's kind of still a tropical wave right now. It's trying to develop. This is the 6Z. The appropriate thing to do is go to the 0Z to continue this. Okay, here we go. And as you can see, this thing kind of takes its time meandering off the coast. The GFS has been very aggressive with this. The European model has been very modest. But they both agree that there is going to be something that develops on here. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps me out. It helps me make more videos like these. The goal of this channel is to get more people engaged with the weather. Another thing is my Hurricane Matthew documentary is coming out later today at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time, so please be sure you do not miss it. But with that being said, guys, have a wonderful day and stay safe.